Bubbles are for talking. Each night, thousands of herring gather near the ocean surface to release streams of bubbles from their backsides. That's right, fish farts. Well, sort of. To be true, flatulence, that's the scientific word for fart. The gas should come from digested food. But the herring farts, or fast repetitive ticks, as the scientists call them, come from the air herring have gulped at the surface, not from food that has been eaten. Scientists think that farting may be a way herring talk when it's too dark to see each other. Most other fish can't hear the herring farts, so herring can signal each other without alerting salmon and other predatory fish. The book that I have chosen for my presentation is Bubble Homes and Fish Farts by Fiona Bayrock and illustrated by Carolyn Conahan. This book details how 16 different species use bubbles and what those bubbles are for. I just want to show you a few of the pictures. This one is the pearl gourami, and he uses that to shoot hoops. Another would be bubbles are for chasing prey, and this is the Weddell seal. And one of my all-time favorites is the dolphins, and bubbles are for playing. In this book, it details what these different animals use bubbles for. Sailing, running, breathing, keeping warm, living in, finding food, fishing, chasing prey, talking, popping, playing, tasting, hiding, nesting, shooting, hoops, and best of all, saving animals. I'll admit that I picked this book up because it had the word fart in the title. It reminded me of books that my sons might have chosen years ago when they were going to the library. In terms of the evaluation criteria for this book for informational nonfiction, as far as accurate facts, the facts are accurate and verified by scholars from around the globe. And they shared their research with the author in terms of their research, their opening up their labs, and their expertise. Scientific qualifications, while the author is not a scientist, she has worked closely with many scientists in order to write this book, and she has also written many other scientifically based books for children. And she's gained that information through world-renowned scientists. And their credentials can be found in the back on the acknowledgments page. And there's, as you can see, there's quite a list of the individuals who contributed to this book. As far as distinction, significance, and perspective, the facts are clearly distinguished by animal and the animal and the information that is being discussed. As far as being believable, I found it very believable and very interesting as far as the facts that were given for each species and what they used bubbles for. As far as it being up to date, I found the information to be timely and relevant. I did find the book to be interesting. It's fun and full of interesting facts that I believe the targeted reading audience would really love. And the targeted reading audience for this book is 9 to 12 years old. There are really no stereotypes in this book, and the illustrations are really colorful and support the text. By referring to the illustrations, let me just take a minute here and show you. So for instance, there's one on finding food, and the little speech bubbles at the bottom say, I smell something yummy, and also not me. And so it talks about how these bubbles, this particular animal finds food by using bubbles. And so along with the illustrations, there are text bubbles at the bottom that help kind of relate the the theme of what is being said back to the illustrations. In terms of it being thought-provoking, the books allows children to engage, act, and be actively involved in what they're reading by the illustrations and the speech that is around the page. The scientific name for each animal is provided at the top. So if you'll, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but the African gray tree frog, and here is the scientific name for that species. So that is also given at the beginning of each page. As far as organization is concerned, this book is well organized and includes glossary terms at the back in case the readers are unfamiliar with the terms that are used. And it does say in one of the speech bubbles that scientists have a fancy word for everything. So here is a list of the glossary terms that might be unfamiliar to the reader. Things like hibernate, larva, nymph, parasite, farts, and it gives for fast repetitive ticks, and baleen plates. So that's a few of the things that are on the glossary. And as previously stated, it also includes an acknowledgments page for all the scientists and experts who worked to help the author write this book. I would highly recommend this book. It's a lot of fun, and thanks for letting me share.